The ranch had a way of swallowing sound, turning even strong winds into whispers. Ethan had chosen this life for that reason. Out here, nothing demanded explanations. The land didn't care about his past, and the animals didn't ask why he preferred silence over conversation. Days passed in a rhythm he trusted. Sunrise, work, sunset, sleep. Change was something that happened to other people, not to him. She appeared just before dusk, her car limping to a stop near the old fence as if it had given up at the very edge of his world. Ethan noticed her hesitation before she stepped out, the way she scanned the open land like someone measuring risk. Dust clung to her clothes, but there was a quiet strength in the way she stood, shoulders squared against exhaustion. When she asked if she could stay the night, her voice was steady, though her eyes suggested she had rehearsed the question many times. Ethan nodded. He didn't ask for details. He never did. Inside the house, the air felt different with another presence in it. Clara moved carefully, as if afraid of disturbing something fragile, though everything around them was already worn and cracked. During dinner, they spoke in fragments, simple facts, no stories. Yet Ethan felt her attention on him constantly, noting the long beard he hadn't trimmed in years, the clutter that told the truth about how little he cared for appearances. When he stood to take their plates, her voice stopped him. "There's one thing I need to ask you," she said. Ethan turned, surprised by the seriousness in her tone. She clasped her hands together, eyes lowered, choosing her words like they mattered more than comfort. "Please don't change anything," she said quietly. "Not the house. Not this place. Not yourself." The request unsettled him more than any demand ever had. People usually wanted improvement, repairs, polish, a cleaner version of life. This was different. This was a plea to leave things exactly as they were. "Why?" he asked. She looked up, and for a heartbeat, something raw passed between them. Because some things tell the truth only when they're left alone. That night, Ethan lay awake long after the lamp was turned off. Her words echoed in the dark, stirring thoughts he had buried beneath routine. He realized how often he'd considered changing small things lately, fixing the gate, cleaning the house, shaving. Each thought had felt pointless before. Now, oddly, it felt forbidden. Morning came and Clara was still there. She didn't rush to leave. She helped with small tasks, moved through the ranch like she belonged nowhere else yet fit perfectly. Ethan noticed how her presence softened the silence, turning it from empty into calm. More than once he caught himself about to make a change, then stopped, remembering her request. For the first time in years, Ethan stayed exactly the same. And in that stillness, something inside him began to shift. The storm arrived without warning, dark clouds rolling over the hills, as if the sky itself had decided. It was done waiting. Ethan was repairing a loose post when the first crack of thunder split the air. His eyes immediately searched the field. Clara was still out near the barn, her figure small against the widening gray. He ran, rain already soaking his shirt, boots sinking into the mud with every step. By the time he reached her, the downpour was relentless. They took shelter inside the barn, breathless and dripping, the smell of wet hay thick around them. For a moment, neither spoke. Rain hammered the roof, and the space between them felt charged, alive with things unsaid. Clara laughed suddenly, a soft, surprised sound, as if she'd forgotten she still could. Ethan smiled without realizing it. The silence he had once guarded so fiercely now felt fuller, warmer. When the storm passed, they stood together on the porch, watching the sky clear. The land stretched out unchanged, just as it always had. Clara's expression turned thoughtful. "I think you're ready now," she said. Ethan didn't ask what she meant. He already knew. All night her request had circled in his mind, not as a rule anymore, but as a test. The next morning he woke with a restlessness he hadn't felt in years. He fixed the broken gate that had annoyed him for months. He swept the dust from the corners of the house. Each small act felt strange, like crossing invisible lines. Finally, he stood before the mirror, razor in hand. His reflection looked unfamiliar even before he began, older, guarded, shaped by years of choosing stillness over risk. He hesitated, then drew the blade down. When he finished, he barely recognized the man staring back. It wasn't the loss of the beard that unsettled him. It was the sense of possibility beneath it. Clara noticed immediately. "You changed," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's chest tightened. "I thought it was time." She didn't look angry. Instead, tears filled her eyes, and she smiled, a mixture of relief and gratitude. She told him then, sitting at the table where she'd made her request days before. She spoke of a life where she had been trapped by someone else's rules, where change was forbidden and staying the same was the only way to survive. When she arrived at the ranch, she needed proof that stillness could be a choice, not a prison. "And now?" Ethan asked. "Now I know I can leave without fear," she replied. By evening her bags were packed. The finality of it hit him harder than he expected. He walked her to the car, the dirt road glowing orange in the setting sun. "Thank you," she said, touching his arm, "for listening." As her car disappeared into the distance, Ethan stood alone, the ranch stretching endlessly around him. Everything looked familiar, yet nothing felt the same. He had honored one simple request, and in doing so, he had finally given himself permission to change.